I'm Stephanie Lake. My friends and I have created this science segment at the Bonita Museum and Cultural Center to explain some STEAM concepts, that is, science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, in an effort to make STEAM more accessible and fun for everyone to learn. We have two different types of videos, both of which you can access through our YouTube channel linked below. The first type is the informational videos, where we'll explain some STEAM aspects of the exhibits within the museum. And the second type is where we'll conduct easily replicable experiments for all ages. With that, let's see how Special Agents Vivian and Aiden were able to solve their mystery using the science of forensics.
Special Agent Vivian here. I'm at the crime scene. Agent Aiden, where are you?
I'm right here.
Oh, right.
Hurry, let's make haste. The boss said the thief who stole the puppy was just in the Bonita Museum less than 30 minutes ago.
Let's go in. Agent Aiden, how is a piece of wood going to help us detect this case?
First of all, that piece of wood is a Ripon telephone from the early 1900s. Second of all, I see fingerprints. Call the forensics team.
The forensics team?
Forensic science is defined as the use of scientific methods or expertise to investigate crimes or examine evidence that might be presented in a court of law, especially fingerprinting. It's one of the most critical parts of forensic analysis.
So now we're going to pass it on to our friends.
Over in the forensics department.
Hi, in this section we're going to be going over the history of forensics. Forensics was first seen in 3000 BCE with the Egyptians when they removed internal organs of the dead. It was later seen by Quintilian in Rome as well during the 1st century, as he used forensic evidence to first acquit an innocent in a courtroom setting. In the 16th century, pathology was first used by Italian surgeons. Pathology is the study of disease and injury and decay within a dead corpse.
Going into the 18th century, many prominent people in the name of science have come about, one of them being Carl Wilhelm Scheele. Scheele was a Swedish-German chemist. He was mostly known for having devised the first successful test in detecting the poison arsenic in corpses. Fast forward to the 19th century, another prominent name was Sir Francis Galton. He was mostly known for establishing fingerprinting as a reliable source of identification.
Going back to the 1800s, in 1814, the first treatise of toxicology was published by Matthew Orfila. Toxicology is the study of physical agents and chemicals on living organisms. 20 years later, Henry Goddard was the first person to use physical evidence to link a bullet to the firearm used in the crime.
In 1896, Sir Edward Henry developed the Henry classification system. This system allows for us to use fingerprint-specific characteristics to identify them in any given database. Edmund Lockhart formulated the basic principle of forensic science. He also developed the 12-point fingerprint identification method, which is a method that we still use today. He convinced the police of Lyons to establish the first crime laboratory collecting and examining evidence from crime scenes in 1910.
I'm Matthew,
I'm Roxanne. And I'm Felina.
and we're going to be talking about famous forensic scientists. One of the most influential forensic scientists was named Matthew Orfila. Now, Orfila founded what is known as the Traite de Poisson, which is the findings of poison in one's body.
Hans Gross is another famous forensic. He helped establish cross-transfer evidence. Cross-transfer evidence is the category of evidence that includes materials being exchanged between people and other sources. Examples of this include hair and fingerprints being exchanged with different surfaces. This led to the discovery of the various blood groups we know today, like type A and B, and the unique gene markers in each person.
The most important forensic scientist was a French criminologist named Dr. Edmond Lockhart, also known as the Sherlock Holmes of France. During the 1900s, he established the first crime laboratory for collecting and analyzing evidence from crime scenes. He also formulated the principle that states every contact leaves a trace.
We're going to pass it on to our friends to talk more about forensics.
Hi, my name is Brianna Magtoto. I'm the PR officer for Hooks Club. And my name is Charisse Magtoto. Now that we know a little bit more about the history of forensics, let's learn more about its modern uses. Forensics is most commonly used in the criminal justice system. For example, forensic biology and DNA can help identify suspects of a crime. In order to uncover the puppy thief, we could collect trace evidence, compare it with our suspect, and use forensic biology to see if the DNA or fingerprints match. Forensic science is extremely important to criminal investigation because it provides concrete evidence that is irrefutable. Not only can biology be used, but physics can be used to understand the pattern of a blood splatter, and chemistry can be used to determine drug composition. Forensics is an extremely important field within law and justice, and just proves how important STEM can be in our world. Now that we've learned about some modern uses of forensics, my friends will conduct a fingerprint lifting experiment.
Hi, I'm David,
And I'm Alex.
and today we're going to be leading you guys in an experiment on fingerprint lifting. So the materials that you guys are going to need are very simple. You guys are going to have several balloons for multiple trials, an ink pad to coat your finger, and lastly, just the fingerprint. The steps that you guys are going to take is first you're going to take your balloon, start to stretch it out. This will make it easier to blow up later in the process. Go ahead and get it sideways, vertical, the whole 9 yards. And then after that, you guys are gonna lay it down flat and make sure that there's enough room for your actual fingerprint to be placed. After that, go ahead and take your ink pad and start to heavily coat your finger. Roll it around, get deep in there, and make sure that it's very nicely coated. After that, you're gonna press down on the balloon and place your fingerprint on it. Very nice. After that, go ahead and place the balloon, start to blow it up, and start to check to make sure that it doesn't get blurry. That might be a little blurry, so take some air out, make it a little bit more visible and accurate. And this may take a couple of trials, that's why you have your extra balloons. Nice. Now we have our visible fingerprints on the balloon, and we can start to make our observations.
It took us a couple of tries, but now we finally have an observable fingerprint, which we can use to identify the different shape of the fingerprint. There are three main shapes: the loop, the whorl, and the arch. This one has more of an arch shape though. We can also start to identify the different shapes of types of minutiae, which are individual characteristics of a fingerprint, which include the ridge island, the ridge ending, the ridge dot, the ridge enclosure, and the ridge bifurcation. Right here you can see the ridge ending of this fingerprint. And a little bit more up there, you can see the ridge bifurcation.
There are more advanced systems of fingerprint examination, such as AFIS, the Automated Fingerprint Identification System used by law enforcement. They use this to distinguish between different individuals, since all fingerprints are different.
Thanks for tuning in to our fingerprint lifting experiment. We hope you enjoyed it and followed along. From familiar films like Sherlock Holmes to real-life detectives like Dr. Edmund Locard, forensics has permeated many aspects of our society. As with the example of forensics, learning about STEAM can be very useful because it's all around us, and it can reveal a lot about ourselves and our communities. And that's a wrap on our 2022 Life Sciences video series. To further observe what STEAM is all about, catch us in our next series where we'll dive into the realm of the physical sciences.
What? That can't be true. What?
What happened?
The boss said that the fingerprints were yours.
You're right. It was me all along.